all set to kick off Season 4 in the World Poker Tour. I'm Mike Sexton.
And I'm Vince Van Patten, and the WPT is back for its 4th season to put the audience right in the middle of every million-dollar decision like never before. You know what we have this year? We have more cameras so that the people out there can witness a few more ridiculous suckouts and brilliant bluffs. So that's going to be fun.
Well, we started 4 days ago with 317 players, each of whom put up $10,000 to enter to create a prize pool of over $3 million. We're down to our final 6, one of whom is going to walk off with $1.1 million. And the one thing that every poker player dreams about, Vince, a WPT title.
Well, this is an interesting final 6, too. I tell you, we have a couple pros and we have a few amateurs. Let's go over the pros. Ted Forrest and Keto Pham. You've seen them before on the World Poker Tour. Great players. Maybe not the flashy names that you've heard of, but I guarantee you after tonight, if they win this, they will be bona fide poker superstars.
Well, we have 2 other pros making their WPT final table debut tonight. That's Chris Bell from Raleigh, North Carolina, and Gavin Smith from Las Vegas. And Vince, the other 2 players at this table, Mark Ellerby from Richmond, Texas, and Eugene Todd from Brooklyn, New York, actually have jobs. They are amateur players who are battling their way to this final table with a shot at capturing a WPT title tonight.
You know what? It is poker dream time tonight here at the Mirage. The winner's going to take home $1.1 million. The cards are ready to fly. Let's go down to the felt.
You know, Vince, what's going to be fun about tonight is the 4 pros at the table. The guys sitting in seats 1, 4, 5, and 6. Very aggressive. They're all bold. They make moves at the pots. It'll be interesting to see how the guys in seats 2 and 3, these 2 amateurs, fare against them. Well, Keto Pham, our chip leader.
Keto throws down 10-7. Now it's around to the big-time gambling man, Ted Forrest, throwing away 6 deuce.
Now around to Mark Ellerby out of Richmond, Texas. He looks down at Queen 3 of hearts. He's capping his cards. Generally an indication you want to play a pot.
Don't do anything crazy, Mark.
Well, he is short-stacked. He sees a couple guys folding right in front of him. He's thinking to himself,
all right,
can I take advantage of this right now? No, decides not to.
You know, he opts to fold. And probably a wise choice because right behind him, Eugene Todd has picked up a pair of 8s on the button.
Oh, Mr. Brooklyn with the mid pair and the button in front.
More chips, less brains. Gotta pick my spots.
He epitomizes New York, this guy. Look at him. I mean, looks like he's ready for the rumble.
And he makes it 30,000.
On Chris Bell, a professional out of North Carolina, looks down at a nice hand, ace-queen, offsuit.
Well, Vince, when you're sitting in the blinds and the guy on the button raises it, you always think he's stealing your money. Why is that?
I guess most of the time he is.
Well, Chris has a nice hand here. Let's see how he's going to play this ace-queen. He's going to test him and see if he's got a hand or not. He's coming over the top of him.
Oh, he is. He's going up.
105,000.
Gavin Smith looking down at a miserable 6-5 offsuit, throws it away, and now it's back to the New Yorker.
Wants to, just can't.
Vince, here's where you have a problem in no limit hold'em. When you have mid pairs and your opponent has come over the top of you after you've raised it, what do you do now?
Got a predicament.
Right now you could make a case that he could call this bet to see a flop. He could throw his cards away, or he could come over the top.
What's it to me?
You got the mid pair. You're acting last throughout the hand.
What will our man from Brooklyn do? Well, it cost him $75,000 to call, Vince, but he's getting out more chips than that. The amateur from New York who got in here on a satellite, is he going to come over the top here with the 2-8s? Yes, he is.
Oh, boy, he's saying, I'm walking here. Wow. I'm from New York.
That is some play he's made right here. He's come over the top, made it $220,000 to go.
Oh, look at that scowl. You gotta love that face.
Well, now he's put the burden back on Chris Bell as to what to do. Chris has the ace-queen. When you've raised and been re-raised again, you're always afraid your opponent might have ace-king. He might have a pair of kings or queens. You can be beat, but Chris is going to opt to make the call, wants to see a flop.
So a nice pot developing between these two.
And the flop comes king, queen, 10. So Chris Bell in the lead with the ace-queen.
So he's got the queens with an ace kicker.
But still, even though it looks like a nice hand, remember the guy raised on the button. You re-raised him. He came back over the top of you.
It's scary. Guy could have ace king. He could have a set. He could have a lot of different things. Chris is going to check this.
Yeah, he's going to proceed a little cautious here.
Now the New Yorker with just the pair of 8s has got a little problem.
Vince has got a big problem. There's 3 overcards out there on the board.
Nobody's getting out chips. What is this?
Well, Vince, I would be astounded if he bets here. There's 3 overcards on the board to his pair of 8s.
Very risky bet.
This guy is not intimidated whatsoever here.
Oh, he's from New York.
It's been raised, re-raised, and called here, and he's still betting $250,000 into this flop. Wow.
Gotta love this man's spirit. What a bet into Chris, who has second pair of queens with a big ace kicker.
I'll tell you, folks, if you're sitting in Chris Bell's seat right now, we can see that he's a dominating favorite here. But believe me, you don't feel that way when you're sitting there. You raised the guy before the flop. He came back over the top of you. Now you check, and he leads out in bets on this flop. You're afraid he's got ace-king. He could have 2 aces, 2 kings, 2 queens. Could have flopped a set of 10s. You just don't know where you're at right now.
250. Chris trying to get a read, realizing he probably can't get this man out of the pot. He's pot committed.
Chris is opting to wait. He lays it down.
Oh, and the New Yorker puts the brass knuckles to him.
Let me tell you, Eugene should be clapping for himself, Vince. What a bold play.
Oh, go show it. No, he's not going to show it, though. He slams down the cards.
To make a play like that early at a final table of the World Poker Tour event, the guy got in here on a satellite. That takes a lot of moxie to make a move like that.
What is it going to take for me to win this? I'm not really looking to put a game plan together. I'm not really that type that needs a game plan. I flip out quick, you know? But I'm going to try to keep myself poised today.
Because we're from New York,
Season 4 underway. They are gambling big time. We're coming back with more on the World Poker.
It's a pretty bad feeling. It's just good that now I'm here and I can let that demon go.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour, the Mirage Poker Showdown. I'm Vince Van Patten with Mike Sexton.
And Vince, this is the kickoff event of Season 4 on the World Poker Tour. And the amateur player from New York, Eugene Todd, just ran that kickoff back for a touchdown, bluffed his way into that pot.
Action quickly around to Ted Forrest. He goes out. Mark Ellerby with 9 deuce. He goes out as well.
The WPT hole cam brought to you by Budweiser shows us that Eugene Todd has picked up 2 10s on the button. Last time he had 2 8s on the button and played them superbly. Let's see how he plays these 2 10s.
Crack of that neck.
He's going to be cracking some chips off that stack, that's for sure.
Intense kind of player, huh?
He is going to raise it. I don't blame him at all. Comes in for $44,000.
But right next to him, Chris Bell with a king, queen of clubs.
Remember last time, Chris came over the top of him and got re-raised by Eugene, ended up giving up the best hand. When the smoke cleared, let's see how he plays the king, queen of clubs here. This time he's just going to call the raise.
Learned by a little history there, perhaps. And now Gavin Smith with 7-5 throws it down.
Once again, Chris Bell and Eugene Todd going at it here. Chris with the king, queen of clubs. Eugene with the 2 10s. Here comes a flop. The flop is ace 9-5.
Did not help Chris. Didn't hit any piece of that, and it's on him first. Now he's thinking, this guy next to me pull off an ace or what?
Chris very deliberate, taking his time here. He checks.
Gives the green light here to Eugene.
Eugene scratching his beard and now reaching for chips.
Well, he figures if this guy had an ace, he wouldn't check it perhaps, and he's going to bet it.
Well, he does bet it. He bets $80,000. Notice how Chris is staring at that bet. He knows there's $112,000 in the pot. The guy bet $80,000. Without much hesitation, Chris is going to come over the top of him.
Oh, boy.
He's going to represent the ace, as we say.
Well, he makes a $100,000 raise with just king, queen.
He has king high is all he has. Eugene has the best hand with 2 10s, but when you're check raised, you just automatically assume your opponent has an ace in this spot.
It's just going to put your head in a vice right now.
It's another $100,000 for Eugene to call this bet. Then if you call it here, if your opponent bets on the turn, what do you do then with 2 10s?
Gonna try to read his man.
Trying to study him.
Did not want to get raised here.
Well, look at Michelle there. She's got her hands clasped.
Oh, it gets him to lay it down.
Well, Chris Bell showing him, look, you took that last pot away from me. I didn't know if you had the best hand or not, but you're not the only one who can play a little poker here, my friend.
The Wonder Cam coming up a 10 on the turn.
They going home then.
And a 9 on the river. Oh, man.
Eugene Todd would have made 10s full of 9s, but how much more he would have earned, I don't know. Had he called that raise, Chris might have backed off and not put any more money in the pot, but who knows? He may have fired again at events.
Chris Bell, the former realtor, gets his commission right there.
I was always competitive in high school, and this is just another way to be competitive. Kind of like a sport. I mean, you're trying to get the other person's chips, and that's your goal.
He's playing good and getting unlucky.
I just love to play. I'm looking to win it.
You know, the dream of every poker player, Vince, professional or amateur, is to capture a World Poker Tour title. There you see WPT champion Michael Grotz in the crowd, rooting his buddy Chris Bell on here.
Action on Mr. Brooklyn, Eugene Todd. Fumbling around there.
Struggling to see his cards here.
He's got ace 9 of hearts. He goes out.
Maybe he didn't see him.
All right, Chris Bell looking at 10-8 of spades. No, he goes away too.
Gavin lays his hand down.
Now it is on the corn dog. They call him Keto Fam. He's got a wired pair of 5s this time.
And he's going to raise it on the button with 2 5s. Makes it 40,000 to go.
Ted Forrest looking down at Queen Deuce. He goes out. And now it's on Mark Ellerby in the big blind. This time he's got Jack 10. Nothing special.
He's got 12,000 out there. Cost him 28,000 more to call.
Owner of the collection agency, an amateur player. He's going to make the call. He's going to speculate.
This is a gamble in my view because he's on the short stack. So here we go. It's Jack 10 for Mark, 2 5s for Keto.
Here's the flop. Oh, man. 9-5-3. Keto's hit 3 of a kind.
Well, a dream flop for him.
I'm all in.
Oh, and Mark Ellerby's gone all in,
Did you say
Vance.
all in?
Yeah.
I call.
Awful time to try the bluff. He gets snagged right there.
He tried to make a move with the pot. Little did he know he ran into 3 of a kind.
What are you going to do?
Keto clapping. He knows he's got his opponent hemmed up about as well as you can right now. Unless Mark Ellerby catches 2 runners to make a straight or 2 clubs to make a flush, he will be heading back to Texas.
Here's the turn. It's a 3 of hearts.
Well, that's going to do it.
Yeah.
Mark is drawing dead now, as we say. Keto's made a full house. Come over to congratulate him. Doesn't matter what the river card is. Keto Fam taking down this pot, and we are going to be down to 5 players.
Mark Ellerby from Richmond, Texas, picks up $106,000 for his effort, and he didn't even have to make any threats to get it. Right now, we are down to 5 players. One of these guys is going to go home a millionaire. Stay tuned. We're coming back with more on the World Poker Tour.
Tucked away, this one's front and center in the casino, and consequently gets a lot of new, young, crazy players. Everybody thinks that now to be a poker player, you have to be aggressive. So they make the games very interesting, to say the least.
Welcome back to the Mirage Poker Showdown. I'm Vince Van Patten alongside Mike Sexton, and we are down to 5 players.
The current chip leader is Keto Fam. He started out with a chip lead at this final table. He still got it with a little over $2 million in chips.
Great characters at this table going after a $1.1 million first prize. Action's going to be on Gavin Smith. Throws away 5-3. And the chip leader, Keto Fam,
Thanks.
going to go up with King 7 offsuit. Raises to 40,000.
Okay.
We said he's a gambling style player. You see it right there.
Ted out. And now Mr. Brooklyn. Eugene Todd with a big hand, King, Queen of Hearts.
Actually has a dominating hand over his opponent, as we say here.
40, right?
He doesn't know it, so he's just going to call right here.
Yes, he does. Now Chris Bell with ace 10 in the big blind.
Well, Chris knows if one of his opponents had an ace with a bigger kicker, and an ace comes out there, this could be a trap hand. Chris is going to wait for a better spot. Doesn't want to play this hand three-handed.
King, queen versus king 7. Here's the flop.
The flop is Jack 10-7.
Gives an open-ended straight draw to Mr. Brooklyn, but a pair of 7s for Quito.
Eugene checks the open-ended straight draw.
Check.
And Quito checks the 2 7s right behind him.
Turn card coming up. It's a 4 of hearts.
Now this gives Eugene a flush draw as well as an open-end straight draw. He's going to make what we call a semi-bluff here. Has a nice hand to draw to, even if he gets called.
54 grand into Quito. Now what does Quito do? He got only a pair of 7s. You're the chip leader. Can you make this call?
Well, he is going to make it.
Nicely done, staying involved here. Eugene Todd would love this last card to hit him.
Off to the river we go. Well, the board pairs jacks.
Did not help him.
Action is going to be on Eugene.
Oh, what to do now, Mr. Brooklyn?
Well, because of the WPT cam, we can see the only way he could win this pot is to bet at it and not get called.
Well, he looks like he's going to go for some chips here. He's going to continue this baloney. And yes, he bets $80,000 into Quito.
Well, it's more or less a post-oak bluff, sort of a smallish bet. Remember, there was $210,000 in the pot when he bet this $80,000. But still,
Quito with just a pair of 7s. A lot of things can beat you.
Tough call to make here. Normally, when you're at the table, you give amateurs a credit for having a hand when they bet at you. You just don't think they bluff very often. That's why this makes this call even that much more difficult to make.
Eugene Todd holding his breath, literally. He's got to sweat this out. Oh, boy, he's made a great call.
What a call this is by Quito Fam.
Got nothing.
Oh, boy, he shakes down Mr. Brooklyn.
King 7.
Yep.
Just a nice call.
Nice one, buddy. I missed.
Did not work out for Mr. Brooklyn.
So that is a great read by a top professional player right there to make that call with 2 7s.
I think I'm one of the best players out there. But Asian culture think poker player are bad. So I cannot say I'm a professional poker player, but I'm one of the best out there.
And you got to be impressed with the poker instincts that Quito Fam showed that last pot. Made that tough call with the 2 7s to take it down.
Quito Fam still our chip leader with $2.2 million. The short stack at this point. Eugene Todd, Mr. Brooklyn with $589. Action now belongs to Chris Bell. Looks down at 5-3. He lets that one go into Gavin once again.
Well, Gavin now picks up the Queen 10 of spade. He's going to raise with it.
Makes it $65,000. On to Quito Fam, who's got a nice suited connector. 9-8 of clubs.
It's the kind of hand Quito likes to see a flop with. So he's going to call the bet here.
Now Ted Forrest, just an awful 7 deuce, gets out of the way. Eugene with 10-6, not going to play, so two-way action.
Gavin with the Queen 10 of spade. Quito with the 9-8 of clubs. Here comes the flop. And the flop is Jack, Jack, deuce with 2 spades.
Yeah, that gives 4 flush to Gavin, but he quickly checks it. Let's see if Quito gets fancy here. Nothing materializing for him on the flop.
And the question is, does he want to try to take a stab at it and steal the pot here? Is he hoping that Gavin has something like ace-8 or ace-5 and might lay it down if he bets?
Well, he's going to try it. He's betting $150,000. Right over the top. Gavin says he's all in.
Doesn't even hesitate with the flush draw. He just moves all in.
Oh. And Quito quickly folding his hand. It's going to work.
Well, Gavin all of a sudden letting his presence be known here at this table. Vince, there's a saying in poker that we can apply to Gavin right now.
And that is, now you're playing the game, my friend.
Yes, he is. He takes the mustard off the corn dog. Gavin Smith.
The best poker on the Vegas Strip continues at the Mirage right after this.
Gavin Smith, I have fun playing with him. He is a funny guy.
I don't know, every time I get water, they always bring you wet water, right? So I dry the bottle off, and whenever you use a napkin and get it a little bit wet, it just seems to cramp up so nice that every time I do that, I just pick a different person to throw it at.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. You're watching the Mirage Poker Showdown.
Well, 317 players started. We are down to 5. Winner's going to take home close to $1.2 million here at the Mirage. Action back on Keto Fam. This time he's got ace-7 of spades. Nice starting hand, especially 5-handed, and there he goes. He's going to raise it up to 70,000.
Ted Forrest looks down at Jack-9. Opts to fold.
Eugene Todd, Mr. Brooklyn with King-5 of diamonds.
Damn, that keto boy.
Nope. Doesn't want to invest.
Chris folds his hand. Ooh, look at this. Now, Gavin Smith has picked up 2 queens in the big blind here, Vince.
Oh, yeah, he's got a double chickies.
He's just calling here, Vince. Looks like he's trying to camouflage the strength of his hand.
He is. He's going to slow play it, try to trap Keto.
Right. Most players would re-raise with 2 queens in this spot. Gavin opts to just call.
Here's the flop, King 8-5. It's a little scary there for Gavin. He checks it.
Have 2 queens. You hate to see overcards come out there.
Nothing hitting there for Keto, but...
Remember, Keto just has the ace high here. But he's going to bet right now.
Going to bet $80,000 with absolutely nothing. Back on the queens. Gavin Smith. Checking out his guy. Makes a smooth call.
Well, nice call by Gavin here.
Here comes the turn card.
Well, the 3 of diamonds comes off.
Helps neither player. Gavin checks it.
Now, Vince, if you're sitting in Keto's seat right now, Gavin hasn't raised before the flop. He didn't bet on the flop. He just checked, called. Now he's checked again. You're probably thinking the guy's got some kind of straight draw or flush draw here.
Gavin's got to be kicking himself that he didn't re-raise before the flop.
Keto might think his ace high is the best hand. He may think Gavin's hit second pair here, bottom pair. May lay it down if he bets. Does he want to bet? That is the question.
300.
And here goes Keto once again, making a $300,000 bet.
A healthy bet right here by Keto Fam. And then he just glares down at his opponent.
Yes, he does, staring right at his man with absolutely nothing. And now he's getting up from the table.
Well, he's coming over there. You're not allowed to talk to anybody during the play of a hand, so you certainly can't go over and talk to anybody. He just wanted his glasses.
He said, look, everybody else has got them. I'm going to get me some.
I'll be back.
Oh, look at this. Gavin says to Eugene, let me borrow your sunglasses here.
Oh, look at that. Very nice.
Let me fight fire with fire here.
Can you see me now?
Well, a little friendly atmosphere. Sort of a high five each other here.
Gavin's 5 was a little weaker. He's a little discouraged right now. Will he make this call? We know, of course, he's out in front with the queens.
He's throwing them away. What a laydown by Gavin there.
Keto, oh, he's going to show the bluff. Oh, he puts the salt into the room.
Nice hand, Keto, nice hand.
Gavin was just trying to camouflage his hand there, Vince. Now, many players would say, geez, why didn't the guy raise before the flop with the 2 queens or lead out and bet on the flop? But he understands Keto's a very aggressive player. He was trying to trap him for a big pot. It just didn't work out for him.
So nicely done by Keto Fam. You know, we've seen him before on the World Poker Tour, but he still considers himself an amateur, not a professional.
Well, most players consider him a pro. He finished runner-up on the World Poker Tour event, the Doyle Brunson tournament, but he's back again tonight looking to capture a WPT title. Gavin gets out.
Now back on Keto Fam. Got a queen-9 this time.
Yeah, he thinks he's on a little heater here right now, so he's going to raise it with anything. He pops it up to 80,000.
Ted Forrest quickly going out, and now on Eugene. Once again, he's caught a pair of 10s wired up. He is down to the short stack, about 435.
Well, the question is, how are you going to play them? You just call the raise here and see a flop? Do you come over the top of him right now? What do you do if you've got 2 10s here in the small blind? Can't imagine he would throw them away, especially against an aggressive player like Keto Pham, and he's not, Vince. In fact, he is going to raise it here, looks like. He's making a tall tower of chips and sails them in the pot.
Okay, it's 140,000 additional.
So 220,000 in total, about half the stack of Eugene Todd.
Chris Bell with 10-4, throws it away and back on Keto Pham.
This is going to send the message to Keto
How much I need to come?
that even though he only bet 220,000, essentially he's going to be pot committed. In other words, if Keto raises him all in right here, because of the size of the pot, Eugene would be obligated to call.
Keto Pham, the chip leader, with close to $2.3 million at this time. He can definitely afford to make this call, but not much of a hand, just Queen 9 offsuit. It's going to give action here.
A little puzzling to make this call when your opponent only has 200,000 left.
So
but Keto's doing it.
Mr. Brooklyn versus Corn Dog, Keto Pham. 5 cards to come. Here we go.
Now flop is Jack 8-5.
And that is nice for Mr. Brooklyn. His 10 still out in front.
Well, ironically, Keto needs a 10 to complete the straight.
Well, it's going to be on Mr. Brooklyn. Eugene Todd first. And look at this. He's going to make a stiff bet. 213,000 all in. And of course, Keto has an inside straight draw.
And ironically, he needs a 10 to fill that straight. His opponent has 2 of them. A queen would also win it for him.
Well, the chip leader would like to break this guy, take a shot.
How much in the main pot?
Well, you see the problem Keto's facing by calling that re-raise before the flop. Because now you almost assume he's pot committed here. There's nearly 700,000 in the pot.
What's going on there with Eugene? He's got some aerobics going.
Yeah, he's going through some kung fu right now.
Hurt my neck right there.
Keto Pham faced with a dilemma right now. Do you put in the last 200,000 here for this size pot?
Got himself involved. He's the chip leader. Take a swing, Keto.
You could let one go. It's not a big deal.
We can see he can win the pot. He catches a 10 or a queen.
Eugene acting cocky.
Okay, Gene, just for you.
He lays it down. Well, Eugene Todd.
I'm on the draw. I'm on the draw. Don't worry about it.
What'd you say?
10s.
They're too good.
Eugene said, you did the right thing. You did the right thing.
That's what I need.
Keto saves a little money there. Eugene just tickled pink to take a pot. He survives.
Well, Eugene is having no trouble matching wits with these pros.
Well, you're right about that, Mike. But if you really want to fit in at the poker table, you not only have to walk the walk, but you got to have the talk to go with it.
Talk the talk.
Yeah.
Well, our own Courtney Friel did just that, Vince. She hit the poker room to discover the new language of poker in this week's WPT Poker Corner.
Most people know that in poker, a novice is a fish and a pro is a shark. But did you know that anyone can be a donkey?
World Poker Tour, Lingo 101.
What's a donkey?
I'm such a donkey.
I guess a donkey is someone that just gives his money away and has no chance of winning the hand.
Kind of donkified.
Squeezer's ultra tight, very predictable, boring player.
FBS is a full-blown squeezer. That means they're playing ultra tight.
And I'll flop you now, watch out.
Full-blown, never give them action. Felted is a term that Unabomber actually created back in New York. When you take somebody's chips away, they have nothing left but the felt.
What a hand.
Now that you have your animals straight, here are some more phrases making their way around the tour. Using these lingos doesn't guarantee a win, but at least you won't sound like a donkey.
You know, not the smartest barnyard animal.
Well, Eugene just showed us that he is no donkey. He stuck it to Keto Pham.
Oh, yeah, hee-haw. Let's get back to the table. Action on Chris Bell. He goes out with 9-7.
Around to Gavin Smith. Mr. Backward Baseball Hat.
Well, this time he's got ace-3 of hearts, and he's going to raise this up to 65,000.
Keto Pham.
200.
Sitting right behind him is going to re-raise it here. He's got king-queen.
He's going to go up to 200,000, it appears. Just a strong raise right there. Ted Forrest out. Eugene going out with 5-3. Back into Gavin. He says all in.
Without hesitation, Vince, he moves all in with the ace high right here.
A bet, a raise, and a re-raise all in for Gavin Smith.
He has played a lot with Keto Fam.
There's the 2.
He's seen him make a lot of moves with virtually no hands. He showed him the bluff a minute ago with that ace-7, you remember? He said, I'm not taking it anymore, my friend. Let me put the burden of decision-making on you. Right now, he's counting up his chips here. Looks like well over $500,000.
The count is $563,000 additional.
Well, that is a huge raise. And if you're sitting in Keto's seat right now, you have to be worried about being dominated here. In other words, your opponent could have ace-king, ace-queen, aces, kings. I just can't see how he can call a $563,000 raise here with king-queen.
Meantime, look at Gavin Smith. He is not breathing right now. He has just turned himself into a human pylon.
Whether it gets called or not, this is a bold bet that Gavin Smith made, too.
I call.
Oh, look at this. He's going to make the call.
Wow. Now, he could very well win this pot, but I'm not crazy about this play. Gavin doesn't like it. He turns up the ace-3.
Oh, my God. He called king-queen.
Well, now he does like it because he's seeing king-queen by Keto. He loves his place right now. He knows he's about a 3-2 favorite to win this.
Well, I think he's a little stunned that Keto made the call, quite frankly.
This is exciting. All in for Gavin Smith with ace-3 against Keto Fan with the king-queen. Stay tuned. We're coming back with the conclusion in just a moment.
To the World Poker Tour. Gavin Smith is all in against Keto Fam. If Gavin's ace high doesn't hold up, he'll be stuck holding the rail in 5th place.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. Right now, Gavin Smith all in. He has the best hand with the ace-3 of hearts. He's up against Keto Fam with king-queen.
What a great spot for Gavin to double up. Here comes the first 3. Oh, look at the flop.
Jack 6 deuce. So far, so good for Gavin.
Absolutely out in front so far. Neither player hitting a pair. Ace high at this point. In the lead.
Gavin showing no emotion yet. Not doing anything till all 5 cards have come up, and they're going to shove him the pot.
Here's the turn card. It's an 8 of diamonds.
Well, he knows he's got to dodge one more card. A king or a queen at the river is all that can beat him now.
Slowly. He is a massive favorite to double up.
Well, if he wins this pot, Vance, he's going to be a force here with nearly $1.6 million in chips.
Monkey.
Here comes the money card.
Yeah! It's an ace. Gavin Smith has done it. We're over there high-fiving Eric Lindgren and his fan club.
What a nice hand to hold up for Gavin Smith.
He has gotten back into the hunt. And Vince, I think you have to question Keto Fam's call there, $563,000. That's easy to second guess him because he lost that pot, but in truth, I think he was taking a big gamble there. As the chip leader, you don't have to take those kind of chances, even though you can afford to make them. Now look at him. He's down to about $1.2 million in chips.
Good hand, buddy.
Thanks.
Things have been running good from all night long. Perhaps he thought the momentum was going to carry over. It did not. This time, the momentum goes to Gavin Smith.
I put myself in a position to get lucky and managed to do it. Your chips are like your little troop, and you're trying to get your troops bigger, and now I've got enough chips to fight with, and I feel I got as good a chance as anyone else at the table.
A huge pot there for Gavin Smith, and Keto Fam, because of that, Vince, now falls back into 4th chip position.
His first major misstep here tonight. But Gavin Smith now our chip leader with close to $1.6 million. Action's going to be on Gavin, who looks very happy.
Well, he looks down and finds a king-9 of hearts. Things are going well. So he's going to pop it up a little bit here, looks like. Makes it $65,000 to go.
Into his man Keto, looking a little dejected. This time Keto has a 5-3 of hearts.
Well, he's making a call here, Vince.
He's going to speculate.
A bit of a desperation call, I think, trying to get his chips back.
Ted Forrest going out. And now it is on Eugene Todd in the small blind. He's got a nice hand, ace-jack, offsuit. He is short stacked at this point with about $700,000. Still some playing chips.
Cost him another $55,000 to call here.
Well, he's got chips out there. Is he going to bump it, or is he just going to call?
He's just calling here.
Yep. Now action on Chris Bell.
Chris in the big blind. Looks down at Jack 5 offsuits. Not going to like that. He lays it down. So three-way action here. About $225,000 in the pot.
King 9 versus 5-3 versus Ace Jack. Here's the first three.
Ooh, the flop is King, King, Jack.
That's tremendous for Gavin Smith. He has hit 3 kings, of course.
Yes, he has.
There's a problem here for Mr. Brooklyn. He has paired jacks with the kings with an ace kicker. Also a very good hand. But he's going to check it.
He checks the 2 jacks.
And Gavin with the 3 of a kind. He's getting out chips, it looks like.
I like this, Vince. He's not slow playing the 3 kings. He's leading right out into the pot. Bets $135,000.
Now action on Keto, who hit absolutely nothing on that flop.
Well, he has 5 high.
Not going to mess around with his junk. Throws it away. Back on Eugene. Now what's interesting about this is that the bet by Gavin Smith is so obvious it actually looks weak. And that's how he's designed it. Sometimes when you hit a big hand, you want to check it to suck him in. You don't usually have it when you hit 3 of a kind on the flop.
Well, the consensus among top pros, Vince, is that when you flop a set, when you flop 3 of a kind, lead out into the pot rather than check raise. You'll get more money in the long run doing it that way. Gavin Smith has done it. And let's see what's going to happen to poor Eugene Todd now.
Let's just face it, this guy's in a lot of trouble no matter what. What a bad place to be.
He's going to make the call here.
Oh boy.
I almost think he was better off to lead out into this flop and see what happens. See if anybody's going to call him when he leads out when it comes King, King, Jack. I think you'll get a better feel for where you're at.
Oh, here comes the turn card. It's a 9 of clubs. That's going to fill up Gavin Smith.
Well, Eugene Todd is drawing completely dead in this pot. There's no card he can catch on the river to win it. The question is, can he hold back the damage?
Just keeps getting worse and worse for Eugene Todd.
Well, Gavin now hoping he had a big hand, hoping he had a queen 10 or jacks full or something.
125.
Oh, he's got the sucker betting into him.
Well, he leads out and bets $125,000 here.
Oh, the endorphins just going off for Gavin. Oh, his sigh there, like he doesn't have anything.
How much more do you got, Gene?
This is just painful to watch if you're in the Todd family.
Eugene's got about $500,000 left, I think. Maybe not quite, but...
I'm on.
Well, Gavin says, I'm just going all in. Not going to fool around with him.
Nonchalantly.
He's just going to put him to the test right here.
Hide your chips, Eugene.
There you go.
Vince, do you think Eugene can get away from this hand?
I don't think many players could get away from this hand. He is short stacked. He's already heavily invested. You got a pair of jacks with the kings with a big kicker.
Well,
very tough.
You still have nearly $500,000 left.
Make a big move here.
You see the worried look on his wife. She knows this could be his tournament life right here. Little does she know that her man is drawing dead.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, a little kung fu action there for himself.
I know what I'm hoping you do.
And in case he makes this call, you're going to see a few more of those before he leaves the arena.
No glitz, no glitz.
Oh, he's done it! And he's going to be our 5th place finisher.
Oh, man.
Full house.
Well, Gavin knows it. He's drawing dead.
Eugene Todd dejected. A great effort. Well, last card 7 of spades, irrelevant. Eugene Todd out in 5th place.
Just unfortunate for him. Ran into a monster hand there by Gavin Smith. He parlayed a satellite into $137,000, Vince. A nice week here at the Mirage for Eugene Todd.
Right now, he has to go back to Coney Island.
Well, Eugene Todd made some nice money here. A little disappointed right now. Let's take it up to Courtney and see what he's got to say.
Thanks, guys. Gene, I hear you say that New Yorkers are the best poker players in the world. What happened with you today?
It didn't show by the last hand that I played, but I don't know. I don't even know what I did. I'm steaming right now. I'm so upset that I just gave my money away for no reason at the end. But I don't know. I'll be back for sure. Yeah.
Vince, our 2 amateurs are gone. We are down to the 4 pros.
$1 million for the winner. Don't go away. We're coming back.
And it was the Cinderellas that got kicked out of the ball first, as amateur Mark Ellerby made a misstep into Keto Fam and was sent home to Texas. Mr. Brooklyn Eugene Todd had his dance card punched by Canadian Gavin Smith. Now, only 4 pros remain. Consummate professional Ted Forrest, rising star Chris Bell, the aggressive Fam, and the Sly Smith. Season 4 on the WPT is off to the races in a poker showdown that will give one pro $1 million payday.
I'm Vince Van Patten with Mike Sexton, and 4 players remain here tonight.
Well, the 2 players that have been eliminated were both amateurs. Both guys won a satellite to get in this event. As we just saw, Eugene Todd just got stuck in quicksand, Vince, and he died.
Well, Gavin Smith is our chip leader. He has about $2.3 million in the short stack at this point. Keto Fam with about 1.2. It's anyone's game. Action's going to be on Keto.
He looks at a monster. He's got 2 kings.
He's got a couple cowboys, pair of kings, and he's going to raise it up to 90,000.
I think I will.
Ted Forrest looking down at ace-9. He's played tight here tonight so far. He throws that away. Chris going out as well.
Back around to Gavin. Gavin's got old momentum on his side.
I thought it was only 50.
He's got Jack-7 of clubs.
But he's going to take a flop with it. 70,000 more, he calls. Everything going his way right now. A lot of momentum on his side. He's going to play the rush. Here comes the flop. Well, it's come 10-7-3 with 2 diamonds.
And Gavin's caught a piece of that, the 7s. He's checked quickly.
Keto, of course, has the overpair. It's his pair, larger than all the cards on the board. So right now he is loving the 2 kings.
Let's see if Keto plays tricky here. Comes out with a bet.
Taking his time here.
250.
Oh boy, $250,000 is going to do it.
Wow. There's only about 200,000 in the pot, so he's bet more than what's in the pot, and that makes Gavin wonder, why is he making such a big bet here?
That is a complete reversal. It's the over bet, where usually you're not that strong.
You see Gavin staring him down intently there.
Can you see me now?
This is just a great over bet when you really do have a nice hand. Usually you don't want to call when you do an over bet. Gavin knows that. He's thinking about this with his pair of 7s.
Well, we saw Eugene get stuck in quicksand the last hand. Will the same thing happen to Gavin Smith here?
All you have to say is all in, baby.
That's it.
Look at
He's
that.
baiting him here.
That's all I got to do.
Well, Keto says all you have to do is say all in. Keto hoping that's what he says.
Keto just staring him back with those goggles on.
It looks like he's getting ready to swim some laps. Now, what is Gavin going to do? Is all this talking going to affect him? Will he get in or will he get out? Oh, well, Gavin.